Becoming melius quam ans. Basically, that means in Latin, becoming is better than being. And that is why we are a work in progress. It means that we are never complete and we always have that opportunity to become someone better. You want to say yours in Latin?
I really don't. No. It allows you the ability to be comfortable with making mistakes and accepting yourself for who you are. Why must you complicate things?
And that is why we consider ourselves to be a work in progress. Hi, I'm GW.
And I'm AX.
And I am your host, the none other than GK himself. So, before we get into number one, welcome back to the bench, GW.
Welcome.
It's been a
Thank
bit
you.
of a hiatus.
Thank you.
He's our resident chairman and the host of the Chairman's Corner. So, as we get into the discussion for the day, we're going to play a game which you just push the cards to closer to yourselves. It's basically charades. But we'll have a bunch of cards that are going to help us with the words that we're going to use. Okay? So, GW, because you joined us, why don't you be the one to start?
Why? Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
All
I'm
right.
going to sit this way so I can't see.
3, 2, 1, go.
Okay.
Good start.
Snap,
Good
that's
start.
snap.
It's a mammal that
Dolphin.
swims in the ocean.
Dolphin.
Yeah.
Okay.
Your country has it and it's colorful.
A flag.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm not. I mean, I do covert operations.
You're a spy.
Yeah.
I get
Hey, okay.
That's
That's yours.
That's mine.
Okay. So
Okay.
AX. Yeah, I'm in trouble. We're in trouble.
Okay,
Yeah, we're in trouble.
this is like a top person in the army.
CEO.
No.
Oh, general.
No.
Commander.
Lieutenant.
No.
Captain.
Yes.
Ah.
Okay. You do this in like the deep ocean with like the oxygen tanks.
Scuba
Scuba
diving.
No, but it does have the word
Snorkeling.
diving in it.
Snorkeling. Huh?
Snorkeling.
It does have the word diving in it.
What?
Deep sea diving.
Yes.
dive.
Okay.
Okay, fine.
This is a tool that you use to serve alcoholic beverages that are mixed.
Strainer.
No.
Oh,
a tool you use to serve
It has a name.
a shaker.
No,
Is it the one that you do that?
No. Okay, it is
a fishbowl.
No, it is. If it's not a cup,
A funnel.
it's a.
No.
It's a glass.
Okay. And what are drinks called that are mixed and have a lot of sugar and fruits?
Cocktail.
There we go. Now put the words
Cocktail
together.
glass.
Ah, okay, he takes it. Give it to GW. That was very unfair. You're very terrible. But okay.
How was I terrible?
This is, it was just.
A dream.
Oh no. Okay.
That was terrible.
when you.
Imagination.
Correct.
Okay.
Thank you. North, east, west, south.
The cardinal directions.
What is that device?
Compass.
Okay. So if you go into the waters, into deep waters, and then you see like the Loch Ness monster, what is that thing called?
What?
Sea
if you
monster.
go deep into a sea monster, correct, GW. There you go. There we
You
go.
could have
GW.
said the Kraken.
I
the
didn't even think about it.
Leviathan?
GW, pick your card.
Also-
The giant crab from Moana.
Not knowing
The one that sings Shiny.
Okay. It's like you have this shoes with wheels.
Wheelies.
No, okay.
Or rollerblades, roller skates.
Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah.
Heelys.
No, yeah, she got it.
Okay.
8 legs, sea creature.
Octopus.
Or octopus.
Yeah, you should have waited a bit for this.
Okay.
Do you smell what the?
Cooking chef.
No, okay.
What the Rock is cooking.
So yeah.
The Rock.
Yeah.
I think I take that one.
I got 2
Okay,
out of
she
3.
gets it, yeah. Go AX, come on. Quicker.
Okay. Iron Man, Captain America, Thor.
Superheroes.
There we go. The Indian blank.
Ocean.
Yes. Another word for posse, gang.
Crew.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Get it, that one.
All right, let me show you guys how this is done. There's a meme going on right now. I have the...
Power. The will.
No, okay, when you're writing on your computer and your answer...
Password.
Yeah, there you go. Okay. When I beat everyone, I am the...
Winner, champion.
Correct. Okay. Not a lake, not an ocean, but a...
River.
Mr. Password.
Password.
Last round for everyone.
Okay. You wear it in the military so you can't be seen.
Camouflage.
Good.
You wear camouflage. Okay, so...
It's not AI, but it's a
Machine learning.
okay. Another word for machine.
Robot.
Yes.
Thank you.
You going to space? You're on?
Astronaut.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
What? Okay, that's cheating.
That's
but it's
debatable.
okay. Yeah.
Can I say? Okay. What is a large water body near the beach called?
Beach.
No.
What?
Oh, near the beach.
Like
A sea.
yes. Okay. What is the bubbles that emerge when you agitate soap and water?
Foam.
Yes. Put the
Sea
word.
foam.
There we go.
Okay.
What is this?
Blue.
A t-shirt.
Okay. What is blue?
A color.
There we go. Thunder and lightning and wind.
Storm.
There we go.
Thank you
See?
very much.
And the last one.
Guardians of the
Galaxy.
correct. Okay, if I'm looking beyond the sun, beyond
Horizon.
thank you. And the last thing is, I put 5 bob inside, and boom, boom.
Jukebox.
I had no. You are too quick.
So I have 2 cards.
I have 4.
You've got 4.
Okay, technically I have 3. I did.
You did steal mine.
I have 3.
I co-opted one from you.
So I think we're all equal then. If I have that one, thank you very much. So it's 3 to
3.
everybody. Wow, well done.
we have one we could use to break the tie, but I
Yeah,
don't
let's
think
do one
we
to
have
break the tie.
time.
Let's break the tie. But how do you break the tie?
I don't know.
Okay, I'll do it. Between the 2 of you, let's see.
Okay.
Because I'm the better describer. 3, 2, 1, go. If I sing a lot, I am a
Musician, singer.
correct. You got it.
Okay.
Not South America.
North
America.
America.
GW got it. Last thing. Lava.
Volcano.
Correct. So the winner
I was
is.
thinking of like lava, you know.
You went very far.
Yeah.
So I think we can say end of it.
End of it.
AX wins. But the funniest point goes to none other than GW. Okay. So today we're going to talk about something that's been running in our minds for a bit. That's been running in my mind for a bit as an Afro optimist, as a Pan-Africanist, and everyone can agree. I don't even have an English name. That I for one, am a very strong Pan-Africanist.
Not because you don't have an English
Yeah.
name.
It's one of the reasons. So it was a decision of mine. So and my father's.
So more your father's, because you were not there when you were being named.
More my father's. But as Pan-Africanists, there's always been this dream. There's this dream that black people from everywhere, from north to west to east to south, could come together and create a country that's called the United States of Africa. And this dream was created not like even 10 years ago. It was created about 100 years ago by none other than Marcus Garvey. Let me give you guys a small snippet of his poem, Hail the United States of Africa.
Okay.
Hopefully we'll put it there.
That's
Hail United States of Africa, free. Hail motherland, most bright, divinely fair. State in perfect sisterhood united. Born of truth, mighty thou shalt be. There is no state left out of the union. The east, west, north, south, including central, are in the nation strong forever over blacks in glorious dominion. So the dream of the Pan-Africanists was that when Africa was gaining independence, it would come together and form one country. So President Kenyatta would not be the president of Kenya.
He'd be the governor.
Of Kenya, or the governor of East Africa, or something that would have happened in that course. So what I wanted to ask you guys is, and I want your honest opinions on this to hold a conversation about it. Number one, were you for the United States of Africa? Are you for the United States of Africa as a dream, as an ideal? And number two, do you think it's realistic, and what's your opinion about the way forward? So we'll start with Mr. GW. What's your point?
As a dream, as an ideal, I'm for it. As something that is practical and realistic, I am not for it.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Why?
My first reason is diversity. North, east, west, south, we are very different in terms of our facial structures, our cultures, our foods, the way we communicate, the food we eat, everything is so diverse. I feel like getting a certain central or unitary system to guide all those facets is next to impossible.
What do you think, AX?
Oh, I completely agree with the GW. So the reason why I'm completely for the in theory at least, the construction of the United States of Africa is because of how much wealth we would hold as a nation and how we could coordinate the ways in which we exploit that wealth. Like, for example, our GDP would be $2.6 trillion. We would have 5.5% of the world's minerals worth $406 billion.
We'd have 5.5. All of us together would only have 5.5%.
Yeah, but we also have 30% of the. We also have 8% of the world's natural gas, 12% of the world's oil reserves, 40% of the world's gold, and up to 90% of its chromium and platinum. Congo, one country itself, has 63% of the world's cobalt. Like, is responsible for producing that much cobalt. And both Congo and Rwanda combined produce half of the world's tantalum, which is a very important material that is in your phones, your iPads, your laptops, etc. So for the purposes of controlling and securing that wealth, especially from neo-colonial intent, 100%, let's do it. However, in reality, I agree with George. Like, it's just not practical. Because if you were to construct an entire nation state that spans from Cairo to Johannesburg or Cape Town, you would be imposing a single identity upon like billions of people, right? And that's just not gonna work.
Worked for China.
China has been a state for longer...
For hundreds of years, but it has to start from somewhere.
Yeah, but they started before Christ was alive.
True. But what I'd point out
Same
to
with
you,
Ethiopia.
What I'd point out to you is two things. The first thing is that the reason we're holding this conversation in the first place is actually because of the DRC. Now, we all know that the DRC in the last few weeks, last few months, started the process of joining the East African community and is now part of the EAC. So instead of 5 countries, I think we're now 6. And the DRC has been, if not, I'm not even going to say if not, it has been the most exploited nation in our African history by far. It's never been allowed to grow to its full potential. And one of the stats you saw, and one you didn't mention, is that if the DRC was stabilized and inputted into an African equation, by the way, Africa's water scarcity, a thing of the past. Africa's resource scarcity, a thing of the past. The forest would solve a number of our issues as well. And so the question is, how do you protect countries like the DRC? So the reason that both of you have the same thought as the people from the 1960s that were called Monrovia.
Yes, the Monrovia group.
Yes, the Monrovia group. There were 2 groups. There was Monrovia and there was Casablanca. So those are 2 capitals in parts of Africa. Morocco and Liberia.
Yes.
And the Monrovia group believed that let's do this gradual thing, set this federation like the African Free Continental Free Trade Area.
Africa.
It's very hard to say.
It's a very hard thing to say. I think we need to find a better abbreviation of that. Let's work together, form this federation and do it that way. But then there were a few radicals. And those are the Casablanca group. People like Kwame Nkrumah, who even held a conference before there was, in 1958, with George Padmore, to approach the United States of Africa, like countries like Libya, Egypt, Gamal Abdel Nasser, very radical people that thought, no. The only way Africa is going to prosper is if Africa is considered to be a unit. Because when you are a unit, as you said, the negotiation table, these issues of debts in certain countries, these issues of all these things, can you imagine if this was all under one state? Do you imagine the power?
Can I ask you guys a question?
Sure.
On that same point. At the time when that conference was being had, who do you think was the most likely frontrunner to be the first president of Africa?
Now, therein lies the situation.
And flip side, if we could implement it today, who would we nominate to be our first president?
Now, as a Kenyan, I know my answer. But that's the problem. but that's the problem.
Yeah.
That's exactly...
It might be Kagame,
I agree with the problem that the question is who. If you were to agree all these things, all these powerful things. I remember having a conversation with another colleague in the office, and we asked actually a very interesting question. If Africa was a state, like if President Kenyatta, Kagame, all of said we're giving the keys to the kingdom to one president, and we're all going to be federal autonomous units.
Who would that guy be?
Who would the military belong to? Because the military is in charge of all the power. Who would they belong to? That's the question that a number of us ask. But beyond that, do you not see that maybe the reason we're struggling so much is that the dream, that I have a dream for Africa, which is the United States of Africa, never happened. Maybe we would have actually approached it in a different way. People say Tanzania reduced, sort of waited a little for its independence to wait for Kenya to create this East African Federation, which was step 1. It didn't happen. In fact, actually, there's on the book Kenya History of Independence, they say that Charles Jonjo and Bruce Mackenzie had a glass of wine to cheers the failure of the East African
To
Federation.
industry.
Yeah, to industry. So do you guys not see that maybe the only solution was the United States of Africa?
I have a point. I believe what you had said earlier, that we should first strengthen our economic blocks. So like the way what the EAC is trying to do, whatever the West is trying to do, and then work together with, let's say, 3 or 4 different blocks that will solidify that economic, social and cultural
Partnership,
partnership. Because already we were taken from before we could do that, and we're already being taken from again through now neo-colonial industry and movements. So if we're given some time, just some space,
Some space.
just give us some
Space,
breathing
breathing
space
room.
to actually solidify those ties, then that vision can become clearer.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't think it would have solved our problems. I think it would have made it worse. The reason I think this is because Africa is incredibly diverse. I don't know about you, but I always get really annoyed whenever I'm watching TV and somebody says, "Oh, I went on holiday," and they respond, "Oh, where did you go on holiday?" "Oh, I went to Africa." No, Africa's not a country. Africa's a continent.
Should be a
What country did you go to? Because, and the reason why I get so peeved about that is because Tanzania is not Kenya. Kenya is not Nigeria, and Nigeria is not South Africa. Despite the shared history, a shared experience we have of colonialism and other people wanting to come in and take things that are ours, that alone is not enough to bind so many diverse and disparate cultures. It's just not. And you see that very clearly from the European Union, where they're all bound by their own, white hoity-toityness. But that doesn't unite them in action, just based on how the UK exited Brexit, because they felt that they were losing something of themselves. So I honestly imagine a situation in which, the United States of Africa happened in 1970 when everyone was independent, and then now is when you're seeing a country like Zimbabwe being like, no, we want out. We want to be our own. We want to be on our own. We want to be our own country.
Yeah.
And I feel like that would have been far worse than the current situation we have
So you
right
feel
now.
the break would have been bigger?
Yeah, it would have been a lot worse.
So final question. We all know Muammar Gaddafi. Probably the most polarizing figure in African history. That's saying something. Many people call him a hero. Others call him the devil. In fact, there's even a documentary called Evolution of Evil, and he's the guy there.
Nice.
So the question, Muammar Gaddafi apparently had a dream of creating one single currency for the African continent, for Africa to be able to trade on her own terms. Right now, as you know, we're all pegged to the dollar. So when the shilling goes up, we all have to pay more. When the shilling goes down, we pay less.
Yeah.
And we're all pegged according to that, not according to our resources and our abilities as a state. So do you believe, at least in that form, that the dream Gaddafi had, so forget United States of Africa, but the dream Gaddafi had may have been more sustainable, may have given Africa the chance it needed?
I think the fear people had with that is that it would be a pathway to tyranny. And one currency means one passport, it means one culture more or less, because you're trading all on the same means.
Yeah.
And if you're giving one leader all of that, people's fears is that basically that this person will flip on us and end all be all.
I'm completely for, in theory, the formation of a central currency that we all use. However, drawing from the lessons of the European Union, because that's the closest thing we have to basically the United States of Europe, and how they have struggled to get everyone on board with the euro, and what happened in 2008 when the Greece economy just basically crashed and burned.
Collapsed, yes.
And the kind of effect that had on the euro and the kind of effect it's still having on the euro. I don't think that we're ready. I'm sorry, I just don't. I want to believe more in my people. I want to believe more in my continent. And I'm not sure if this is me buying into a colonial mindset. I'm not sure this is me drinking the Kool-Aid, as it were. But I don't think I don't think we have a unity of purpose yet.
Okay, so what we can finally agree on is that I've got a bunch of Afro-pessimists here with me.
Or Afro-realists.
Afro-realists. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a break with this conversation, and then we'll be back to end the show. Welcome back to Work in Progress. So to conclude this show, actually, one of our fans wrote to us and said that they love our show, of course.
Shout out.
Our show is the best ever. But they also wrote that they feel we need to hold more conversations as youth about the climate. And they're right, that maybe as the youth, as this generation, climate is probably going to be our big history moment thing, apart from all the wars and all the diseases, but we have climate as well. And so one of the questions they had was talking about agriculture and climate smart solutions. So we're going to do a convince us.
Okay.
Each of us are going to give a quick synopsis or a quick debate or question about something they found very innovative and very interesting. So we'll start with AX, then GW. Okay? AX.
What if I could tell you that solving climate change is as easy as putting ice in your water? Would you believe me?
See, ice is water.
I like my Fanta with no ice.
A bit of a preface for this suggestion. It is not feasible in any way, shape, or form. It is just not. And I'll explain to you why I'm bringing it up in light of how unrealistic it is. So, in one of my favorite animated shows of all time, it's called Futurama. And Futurama is set in the year 3001. Now, in 3001, this new society has figured out a way to solve global warming. I think every couple of years, they take a giant, like massive ice cube and
Like
just
a
drop it.
continent-size.
Yeah, continent-sized ice cube and just drop it in the ocean. And the logic behind it is that the ocean is heating up and this is killing ecosystems and melting the ice. Melting the ice releases more greenhouse gases into the atmosphere, which allows more UV rays to absorb into the water that's heating it up some more. Therefore, if you cool the water and you stop the water from heating up in the first place, you'll stop everything else that happens after it, right? Right?
Okay.
Right? Except
No.
that's not
not how it
the way
works.
it
Okay.
works. That's not how it works. So we already have a giant block of ice in the ocean that does all this for us. It's called Antarctica. And it's melting. That's why it's such a big problem. Antarctica helps regulate the temperatures within the water, which is why whenever it melts or a chunk falls off, it is a big deal. Such a huge deal. But the reason why this particular idea of like constructing a big, huge, massive ice cube and just dropping it in the middle of the ocean will not work is because you will need around 3 quintillion grams of ice, or roughly 31,000 cubic kilometers, to make this ice cube. Even if every single person on Earth produced 5 kilograms of ice per day, it would take over 2,000 years to make an ice cube that big.
Oh.
Right. So, but like and
I didn't
obviously
even know quintillion was a thing.
it's a thing.
Can't even imagine it.
So, despite how unrealistic this idea is, the reason why I wanted to bring it up is because at least it's a starting point. It's a stupid one, but it's a starting point for a conversation. And I was once told, like I think it was the Disney method, right? When you're coming up with ideas to very complex problems, there are 3 different stages. Day 1 is you just throw any idea, throw it at the wall.
See what sticks.
And then idea 2 is then you start criticizing those ideas, throwing at the wall. Then step 3 is that you start trying to figure out how those ideas will work. And I feel like right now, because we've been talking about climate change for decades, I think nearly 40 years now, at least in the public space.
Maybe we need to think in a crazy way.
We need to go back to step 1 and just think of every idea, even if it's stupid, just think of it, and then we will dismiss it as we go on, because we are running out of time and we need every idea we can get.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm convinced by the sentiment, not by the product.
Giant ice cube in the ocean.
Okay. GW.
Okay, I don't feel so crazy anymore with my ideas. So I don't know how to cluster these, like in terms of giving them a title, but you'll see the theme as I go along.
Okay.
So the first is what you call marine algae. We all know the ocean is like the biggest surface compared to land.
Yeah.
So if we could farm algae in the ocean, phytoplankton, A, B, C, D, the CO2 emissions from the air reduced, it's cooled down.
Yeah.
Number 2, we have a thing called Breaking 5,
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, there was a story about farming in forests.
Yes.
So encouraging more people to have ownership of their forests.
Yeah.
The less forests we cut down, and the more farming we do in them, I guess it promotes.
It was actually a very interesting way of asking that question, because many of us are told, protect the forest, don't farm on it. And in Brazil, there's issues about farming in the forest because they've cut down the trees.
Exactly.
This is like a different way
It's
to
giving
do it.
people incentive to protect the forests and their farms.
Yeah.
Okay, now we're going to a bit more crazier.
Okay.
Apparently, if you reflect just 2% of the light that hits the earth, it will cool it down. So
if you reflect it.
Like back, just throw it back
throw
out
it back
into space.
into space.
Say we don't
So
want you.
imagine like a big mirror or a big ship floating somewhere somewhere between Earth and the sun for a certain amount of time in different parts of the world. That would cool down the Earth.
We have a giant ice cube and a giant mirror.
Number 3, it's now this is like proper crazy.
Yeah.
But I mean, we have to have balance, right?
Yes.
There's this thing called Earth Hour. It was started in 2007, and it started with a few group of countries. I think it started in Australia, where everyone switches off all the devices, all the lights, all the cars, all the buildings, switching off for like an hour. So imagine if the whole world switched off like everything for like a week, a month, I don't know how long it would last. But yeah, ideally switching off everything.
Okay.
Everything.
Yeah.
Will that help?
No, why
And then-
no? I need Wi-Fi.
No, I mean, you need all these things, but realistically, the idea was just to bring people together. You think about back in the day when there was no lights. It made you more conscious of your surroundings. So, switching off.
Okay.
And then the last one.
Wait. So we have algae. We have forest farming, we have the giant mirror, and then we have the switching off Earth
all of
Hour.
our lights.
Earth Hour.
Yeah.
So
Earth
I'm
Hour.
trying to find the pattern. That's why I needed to.
And there's no
And then the
question.
last one is like a proper reset, like nuclear reset.
Oh,
Wait,
so
what?
like,
No, hold on. But yes.
But yes.
So like zombies, COVID, World War III, like all these things have actually pushed us to the point where we've all seen those movies, yeah? And I'm
Did you
not
say
being...
zombies.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. I'm stuck on
Listen,
zombies.
allow it to be a bit, imaginative. We've all seen those movies where, after some kind of fallout, the earth has healed and all the plants are growing from all corners.
Yeah.
Like we all know how Chernobyl now, even if there's still some radiation, it has been taken over by like vegetation and all this. So that is the last craziest one.
Wow. Okay. So I don't know which one I'm convinced. One of them convinced me. One of them somewhere.
I think
there.
the mirror one is the one that
So,
convinced me.
I have two, which are both a bit random. Number one, now, and they both have to do with this one thing. I'll see if you guys can guess it. It's the thing farmers hate the most when they're farming.
Pests.
Weeds.
Yes.
Hey!
But not
The
necessarily
soft girl.
land weeds, but seaweed. So, there's two things that are being offered to solutions. Do you know one of the biggest polluters in the world is the farts of cows, basically?
Yeah, methane.
Methane released by cows. And one study has found out that if you fed cows seaweed, not even a lot of seaweed, just kidogo seaweed, you could cut their methane emissions by 82%.
Oh.
Why aren't we doing it?
That's the question. So a lot of scientists, it started there, so now they're working on the process of making it more viable. Number two is about ocean farming. There's this guy called Brent Smith. He's the owner of something called Thimble Island Ocean Farm. And he is using techniques using 3D ocean farming to create blue carbon, which that is captured by the world's oceans and coastal ecosystems. And so he's using it to grow mussels, oysters, clams, and seaweed for animal feeds. But he's saying, if we go this way a bit more, you have a chance of saving the world by a huge amount. You know, the World Bank estimates that 10 million tons of nitrogen and 135 million tons of carbon could be sequestered if only 5% of the nation's waters, that's America, are farmed using seaweed. That's how much you can do using a weed. So on that note, I think that is where we're going to conclude.
Interesting.
I think the winner of Convince Us today, you'll tell us as the fans, I would vote for GW.
Hey.
One of the 5, one of the million. But I think you cheated by giving us a million options. But it's okay.
You gave 2. I was the only one that actually followed the instructions.
By giving us just a
overachievers.
doomsday offer. But anyways, thank you so much for watching Work in Progress. Remember to keep it Fifth Estate Plus, Fifth Estate TV, and Fifth Estate on our YouTube channel.
And Instagram, and Twitter.
And we will be here with you as we always are. Next time.